What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the motives for the killer or killers in Scream 5. I've seen this going around the internet. I thought, hey, I want in on this. You know what I mean? I don't want everybody else talking about it and me just to be left aside. So I want to bring some stuff up. I haven't watched anybody's yet because I don't want my opinion tainted. I know they do a great job. I just don't want my opinion tainted because I do think there is a very valid discussion and opinion on the motives that we've gotten so far, and then, do you repeat them? Is that okay? I think that's one of the biggest things that's come out. So let's try to cut through it. I don't want to take too much of your time. Let's cut straight to the chase here. Basically, I think this comes from the leaks. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the leaks say is the killers. I want to leave, because if you guys are coming here, you're saying, oh my God, I didn't want to be spoiled. Let me just say, I feel like it's coming from the leaks because the leaks say the reason for the killings, why the person or the people are doing what they're doing. Okay, can I say that? And I guess I'll leave out the reason why, but I will say it's a repeat of what's already happened. Can I? Okay, we're all on the same page. So I tried not to spoil it. I tried to reach some sort of middle ground for those that didn't want the spoiler. But if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so it's something that's already been done. And then the question is, well, number one, is that okay to repeat the same motives? And number two, is the motive strong in the first place, right? So let's go through them. I actually feel that Scream's motives for why the people do what they do are kind of a mix. They're kind of hollow and and I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't know if I'm going to offend people, but I'm going to try to give you guys the explanation. They feel kind of hollow or one-dimensional when you hear them out loud. And when I say hear them out loud, obviously there's the thing where they have to tell you why. You know what I mean? And I actually like that. I'm not saying, I laugh at it, and it is kind of a laughing thing, but it is that's the truth, and I actually really do like that and enjoy, you get to know certain things about Scream. You know how the beginning is going to go, generally, you know what I mean? And the ending is going to result in the unmasking and the explanation, right? Why they're doing what they're doing. And I think that's fine. And I would say they're all okay. All of them, every single one. I think Mickey's is a little out there in retrospect. You could say Stu's, but really I like the idea of peer pressure where it's just, hey, this is somebody that you could imagine would do it, and they just need, not even they need a push, but they're just following along. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a real, I feel number one, the first Scream movie is very, it could very easily happen in day-to-day life. You know what I mean? It's very real. It's very raw. It doesn't even have to be all that good, but it actually is really good. Even what Billy said, right? Does it, do we actually even need a motive? And then you think, you're wow, I wonder, you kind of don't. And in a way, Stu doesn't have a motive. You know what I mean? It's just that he's following along. But then Billy kind of, he contradicts himself in the way where he's okay, I'll just tell you, right? It's because of this. I think those reasons are perfectly fine. You know what I mean? I would say maybe the way that all of them expect to get away with it is a little bit more of the questionable part. That part I don't. The reasons why they do what they do, I think is fine, even if it is one-dimensional. But I do think, well, we're going to do this, and they're never going to suspect it's us. It's all right, well, I mean, that probably wouldn't happen like that, but I guess you can fantasize, right? So, Scream 1's fine. 2, it's a revenge tale, right, from his mom. And then Mickey, that one is a little bit wacky. I like Roman's a lot. I feel his is the most, I feel his is the best, but it's also the most complicated, needs the most explanation. You have maybe the longest monologue of all of them for him, which I know is memes on Twitter and stuff, right? So I guess there's pros and cons there, but I would say it's way more detailed. It's way more I would say it's the most legit, if that maybe comes across the right way. And then 4 is for fame, right? And in a way, Mickey's was already for fame. So you already have a repeat there, you know what I mean? And I guess even in a way, Roman's was also, I don't know, would you say revenge or would you use a different, adjective or whatever? I'm not good with English. I don't even know if that's the right word to use. What's his exact reason? But you could say the fame idea, right, has already been used. Mickey used it, and then really Charlie and Jill, both of their ideas was that, or at least Jill's is fame, right? So the question is, well, if you're going to do it in 5, what do you do? Revenge? Really? So I think that's what people say. There's only 2. There's only 2 anybody's ever used. It's either revenge or fame. Stu's, I guess, maybe doesn't count, and everybody else kind of falls under a general, I would say everybody. You know what I mean? Billy in a way is revenge. Mrs. Loomis is revenge. Mickey's is fame. Stu's is kind of nothing. Roman's is more of like a revenge. Jill and Charlie are fame. So really, you only have those two. So can you, I guess, again, the question, I would say for me personally, I'm okay with it. Then that may be controversial because maybe that's just not, what people think. I would say, I don't know, maybe it's like boiling it down too much, but what other reasons are you really going to have? You're going to have something like they're just doing it to do it, but like you need something behind that, unless you are literally just insane, which I guess Jill kind of like signaled. And I mean, that's another theme too, right? And actually, that's why I like it, because even for like Jill's, right? I don't think it's like all there, the fact of like fame and living in her shadow and all this stuff. It's like fine, I guess. But then she also then goes on to prove that she's clinically insane. You know what I mean? Like stabbing herself in the shoulder and running into walls and through glass. Like, I love that. I love that moment because it kind of just breaks, in a good way, it breaks this facade that she's like some normal person, and where it's like a normal person telling you it's for fame, and you're like, I don't know if I buy that. And then you're like, oh wait, she's literally crazy. So like anything kind of goes with her. And Billy's kind of the same way too, where it's like, yeah, he's literally psycho. He's like Sydney says, he's psychotic. So like literally anything he says is fine. You know what I mean? It kind of all, it's all like a generality. It all works. So for 5, I feel like, people getting mad or people saying online because of the leaks, and again, I won't get into them, but people saying like, they've already done this. It's like, yeah, but they've already done that too. So like if you say, oh, well, the killings or the killers are using this motive that they used in X movie, well, chances are X movie used it already from the one before, because again, there's really only so many. You can only do revenge, right? Revenge, there's a lot that falls under revenge or reasons why you do that. Fame, or the idea of like being caught, or I don't know, again, like I guess living under somebody's shadow and not wanting to do that anymore, like that all kind of falls under the same thing. And then just being like easily manipulative, right? That's another one, I guess. So you could do that. I mean, that's one that's relatively easy as well if you have 2 people. And I would say that normally happens. Like even Charlie, like Jill's was the more solid reason. She was the one who seemed, less with it in terms of like more insane, I guess, than Charlie, right? So it's like, okay, well, what's Charlie's excuse? Well, there's a little bit of wanting to repeat the past, obviously because of the reboot idea. And there's that aspect of it too, by the way, right? Because this is more of the reboot. Scream 4, well, they said remake, right? Scream 4 was a quote-unquote remake, or at least meta, even though it wasn't at all. It was a reboot. And for some reason, I've never understood that. They called it, they kept, referring to it as a remake. This one literally is a reboot, so you can follow, or I guess if you go meta, which I assume they will in the movie, maybe it harkens back to, the first one, because you're kind of rebooting the first one. So is there similar, honestly, that's probably it, by the way. If we're going to use those kind of clues, can we do the exact same motive of the first one? Can we use just somebody who's off a little bit, and then there's something that kind of sets them off? And again, like the leaks do say why the main person does it, and so I'm trying, if it's real. If it's not real, it doesn't really matter, but I'm trying not to say it so I don't spoil it. But then the second person, if there is, but I think there is, obviously, right? The second person could just be somebody who was along for the ride, like Stu was. So I feel like that would be kind of poetic, because you're repeating in a way the first one. You have to do it a little bit different, but I don't really know if it deserves to be so criticized, at least right now. I mean, maybe when I see it, I'm like, you know what? No, it felt way too much exactly like the first one. That's something I've talked about that really before. A lot of the videos I've been making have been like this popular. I have talked multiple times, like I don't want Scream 1 literally again. So I guess in that way, I'm not willing to say I think it's a horrible idea right now, but if it's exactly the same as 1 and it's just like I'm literally watching the same movie in some aspects, I'm not really going to like that. So that's maybe a little sneak preview of, when the movie actually releases. But I don't know, it's tough. It's tough because these kind of killers, I mean, I would say this. I prefer these motives way more than like a Michael Myers, like he just kills to kill. And it's not just him, like anybody. And that's just my personal preference. There's some people that obviously maybe just want to see, Jason or whatever, just go off and kill. I like these, even though they're not the most sophisticated reasons. But again, I don't really think they have to be. They're kind of one-dimensional, but you understand it. And I think like it works, especially, again, because of what they do with some of them. Even like Mrs. Loomis is an easy one, right? Because it is. It's just simple. You killed my son, I'm going to kill you. Then it's like Mickey. It's like I found him online. It's like, well, what kind of Google search did you do to find? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? How do you even do that? And then Mickey's idea of how he's going to like survive all this. It's like, are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? So that's where it gets a little bit more where I don't love it as much. But the reasons themselves of participating, I think, are all justified. I think they don't have to be deep, but they are somewhat deep, especially in characters, like how they characterize people. So, you know, I would be okay with it. But I don't know. I feel like 5 will do a lot of what 1 did, in the way that maybe 1 is along for the ride, and then the other one, a mix of being crazy, which is most of the killers, but being crazy, and then maybe some element of, you know, kind of just you did something, or something that connects to Billy, maybe even. So we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, or subscribe to my second channel, or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for them all are in the description below. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.